it's a party every night. Living reckless, do the fuck that I like. Oh yeah, that's what I like. That's what I like. Your chick is on me cause I'm just what she like, what she likes.
Welcome to Savvy Events Corner, and I'm Savvy E. And today we here with Miss Amore, singer, songwriter. Let's welcome Miss Amore to the show. How you doing today, Miss Amore?
I'm good, and yourself?
I'm fine.
Awesome.
So what we do here is we just sit back, we talk, we relax, and I'm just gonna ask you some questions. We're just gonna flow with it.
All right.
All right then. So tell me, let's start off about how you got started in the business.
How I got started in business? Well, to be honest, it was like music has always been a part of me. When I was in elementary school, I played in a band, but I never really leaned to vocal. It was just reading music and being able to play it with different instruments. I didn't really get to vocal music until I was about 11 or 12. And I kind of turned it from poetry to music.
Okay.
I really didn't know how to express myself but through words.
Okay.
So singing became my go-to.
Okay, that's beautiful. So you said you used to write poetry?
Yes.
So that's how you started, like just writing poetry, things like that. So do you remember anything that you had wrote, like your first song?
Ooh, heck no. that was a long, I don't know, to be honest, like if I could think about my 11 or 12-year-old self,
Okay.
it probably would be something about basketball, sports, because that's what I was really into.
Okay.
Sports and basketball and just having fun.
So how do you turn a song from sports and basketball into a song, like poetry into a song? How do you do that?
How do you turn man? Every song is poetry.
Right.
That's kind of why I love country music, because it tells a story. You know what I mean? So that's that. I always been told you create the narrative.
Right.
So in order to do that, you gotta be able to write your own story.
Right. So tell me a little bit about the song that you're writing now, like the one that you are working on now. Tell us a little bit about that.
So my single "Over You," which was produced by BJR, that song, I was at a whole different place in my life. It actually was written for a group originally, and BJR gave me the song, and I'm like, oh, I can rock this, and basically going back into that place where I was heartbroken, and I was just like, I'm over you, you know what I mean? Going through that, and I think more or less is a mental thing when writing these songs. And the new songs that I have coming on the EP, which releases in February, those songs were like expression of how I became who I am today.
Right.
And it goes step by step where people can relate, whether it's heartbreak, whether it's love, whether it's like, look, I just want your time.
Right.
You know, so, and I think I wanted to convey something different, because now a lot of the music is like vulgar, I guess,
right.
And I don't want to, because I have a daughter, I don't want to portray myself to be something that I'm not.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, you are your child's first influence.
Absolutely.
So I definitely want to keep that.
Right. And that's good that you touched on that, because a lot of times, like you said, music these days, if I had young children, I wouldn't want them to listen to it.
Right.
And even when I'm around certain people and certain music play and they search, I'll be like, oh, excuse me. I feel offended, because it's like you want to have good music, but everything is about butt and tits and everything like that. So how do you set yourself different from that kind of music?
Well, I think growth plays a good part. And something small, like everybody don't have to know what's in the cookie jar type of thing.
Right.
I think that mentality kind of sticks with me, because honestly, I don't want my daughter to be like, oh yeah, I got my, and just certain things. I wanted to be able to show her what a woman is without having to express herself in a vulgar way.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, the songs be hot,
Yeah.
but I just feel like, I can do it differently because I am different.
Right.
I was born different. So I just feel like I have to convey that through my music too.
Oh, so that goes back to, let me say this. In the industry, a lot of times women have to be very overly over-sexual. So how do you think you're going to fit into that if you have a different mindset?
To be honest, it's not about fitting in right now. It's about making my own lane.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna fit in. I never was a person to fit in,
Okay.
you know. But I think that I have an aura about myself that people will gravitate to me, and that I can, just as well as people, people try to understand me, I can also understand them. You know, it doesn't have to be a thing. We could probably do a collaboration, me and a person of a different caliber, and we do a great song, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a thing where, you know, I'm showing this or showing that, but we have that understanding as artists first that, look, we want to make this hot, we want to make it for our fans, and this is what we're trying to convey.
All right. So talking about that and speaking about that, how do you feel about the females in this kind of industry being over-sexual? Like, speak on that.
Man, look, if you're comfortable with your body, do your thing, you know? That's it.
Right. So let's talk about family a little bit.
Okay.
So you got a daughter. Let's talk about your daughter. How old is she?
Ooh, she's 3, going on 30.
Yeah. So how's that working out? Like, far as what you doing, and how can you mother and be in this kind of world? So let's talk about that a little bit.
Well, I think with mothers, period, when you are a parent, you just learn how to, you know, balance certain things. And 2, because she loves music, it makes it a lot easier.
Okay.
Because it's like, you know, with Over You, she's like, Ma, over you, you know,
Yeah,
things
she's
like
singing
that,
songs.
you know, and it gives me motivation to be like, look, if she can manipulate, you know, what you're doing, you have to just keep going.
Right.
Because you don't want to, one thing about it, like, I don't never want to tell her she has to do something and I haven't done it myself.
So what about family? Like, how is your family supporting you through all this?
My family has been awesome. My family has been great. You know, we have our ups and downs.
Okay.
You know, just like any family, but they have really stepped up. They have
Okay.
really stepped up beyond what I could imagine.
Right. So, you know, you had a little bit of tragedy in your life. You was married at one time. You want to speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
You don't have to get deep into it, but, you know, just let the world know, like, because we want people to see us as real people.
Right.
You know, and the things that we go through obstacles, trials, and tribulations through anything that we do.
Right.
You know, so sometimes they make us stronger. You know, so sometimes, you know, people like to hear that.
Okay.
People like to know that people are real.
Real,
Because
yeah.
in this kind of industry, you know, people have a certain way. They see you in a certain way, and that's what they think, and then till they see other things.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of times where, you know, the fans and everything, they come hard because they have this own thought pattern of who you are. So I feel like being authentic and, you know, being honest and, you know, letting, especially young girls out there that probably would look up to you, you know, they want to know if you're real. Like, who are you? Who is Amore? You know?
Yeah, and it's funny because the EP is called I Am Amore. So,
Right.
I mean, I think with my husband's demise, it shaped me into the woman that I am today.
Okay.
I really didn't know who I was. I just knew that I can love hard. You know, I'm a hardworking person. I'm going to work till I can't work anymore.
Right.
And that's just what it is.
Right.
But I will tell you, I was able to see some strength within myself that I didn't even know existed.
Okay.
And it made me lean on my faith a lot more too, because I'm like, God, what are you doing?
Right.
You know, like, I have this daughter who was born literally a month. So my husband passed May 16th of 2017. My daughter was born June 16th of 2017.
Oh, wow.
So I'm just like, what you want me to do?
Right.
You know? And I just remember, you know, even when she was born, I didn't even want to hold her. I didn't
Okay.
want to hold her because she looked too much like her father.
Okay.
And I when I finally did hold her, I actually cried, and she cried too.
Oh, okay.
So it's just like, even now, she manipulates the emotions that people has, and that can be a bittersweet thing. But I think in regards to her father, it just taught me a lot about myself. It taught me a lot about who other people are too.
Right.
And it just taught me that sometimes you got to go with your gut instinct, because some people aren't good to be around. You
Yeah,
know, no
yeah.
matter how much, you know, you want to fit into crowds and stuff like that, some people just aren't good for you.
So how about your daughter? Like, so she never really met her dad?
No, she never met her father. However, she acts like, you know, she asks questions.
Good,
She
good.
asks questions. And one particular day, you know, we're eating breakfast. She's like, Mommy, you know, where my daddy at? I'm like,
Wow.
oh, man.
Hard, right?
Yeah,
Hard,
like, I'm just like, oh. But I tell her the truth, you know what I mean? Because if she's not gonna hear it from me, she's gonna hear it from somebody. So I'd rather for her to hear it from me first.
Right.
But yeah, that whole where my daddy part. And then she's like, Mommy, my daddy in the sky. I'm like, yes, Aria, like, you know. So it's like, I don't know, that thing is bittersweet, but it allows me to be it humbles me. Okay. It humbles me because, you know, just as well as you can be riding on your high horse, anything can happen.
Right.
And everything can be taken away from you.
Exactly.
So it's just, it was a humbling situation, but it allows me to be grateful for what I do have.
Okay. You ever wrote a song about that situation?
I have, and it's actually on the EP. It's called How.
Okay.
And that song, writing that song was actually the hardest, I think, because having to go back and like relive that situation, it's like, yo, I don't want people to really know what's going on, but in a sense, it's like, well, how can you say I am a more when you're not being, you know, vulnerable, Absolutely. You're not being transparent.
Right.
So it's like, let me put my big girl drawers on and do this thing because it's not even for me.
Right.
It's not for me.
Right. Because sometimes our music can touch other people. Yeah. You know, and sometimes when we write and when we sing and when we, you know, like with me, music is like life. It's like air. Yeah. Like I breathe it. You know, you was talking about country music. My last guest was here. We were talking about country music and a whole bunch of other stuff that I like to listen to. I love music. Yeah. And I might not know every name of a song.
Right, but you know a little lyrics.
I know that. You know, I might be bumping out to something. I don't know who wrote it, whatever. But like music is my whole entire life. But I don't sing, I don't rap, I don't do none of that. I just listen. But for you, just tell me, what is music for you, like from the soul, like from the heart?
Music has been my lifeline.
Okay.
And I say my lifeline because, you know, going back to when my husband passed, I was like, I don't want to sing no more. I don't want to do any of this. Right. Then next thing you know, my pastor makes me the leader of praise and worship. I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
that was God.
What are you doing?
Yeah,
you know?
That was God.
But it's just like, this is not even my gift. You know what I mean? Like, I got to give that back.
Right.
So it's like, it's my lifeline because it has been like, if you feel sad, sing about it. Right. If you feel happy, sing about it. Right. However you feel, you got to sing about it, you know, because like I said before, like I had a hard time expressing myself. So it's been my way of expression. Right.
I was going to say that. Like, music is expression for a lot of people. Writing is, you know. So how do you feel about the industry?
I mean, the industry is, that thing, I really don't know how I feel about the industry. Okay. I don't think I've really been, what I will say is a lot of people don't get the recognition that they should. Right. Like I look at artists like Ari Lennox, I look at artists like Jasmine Sullivan, who can blow people out the water. Yes. And I don't feel like they get enough recognition.
They don't.
And I think too, it goes back to, you know, being vulgar and stuff like that because they are different. Right. You know, people say, oh, I'm different, I like different, but they don't accept different.
No. So how would you categorize your music?
How would I don't know. Right now, I would say that because my influences growing up was like Aaliyah and Alicia Keys and, you know, people that you could tell that they had a certain swag about themselves and really didn't care what people thought, but yet they grew and you could see their growth through the way that they look, through their music. So if I had to be in a category with them, I would kind of say that would be the category I would go to.
Okay. So who would be your dream person to do a song with?
My dream person, I have persons.
All right, what name them?
So I have Ari Lennox. Okay. Jasmine Sullivan. I would love to do a song with Missy Elliott.
Oh yeah.
Cause I think
she fire.
Yes, man.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. This last song, I don't know the name of it, but maybe gotta listen to it a little bit. I didn't care for it too much.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, her new style, she was just like, look, I'm doing whatever I want.
Yeah,
I done did everything else.
I think so.
So yeah. But I mean, there's a few other artists that I would love to work with. But it is a lot to name. But majority and I Lettucey as well. I would love to work with her. I don't know, just people with soulful voices, you know.
Yeah.
Fantasia too. So
Yeah. What about producers? Who would you like to, somebody to write and call you up and be like, here's a song?
Of course, you got Swiss Beats. You know, London on the Track. Pharrell Williams.
Of course.
You know, just Missy Elliott again, Timbo. You know, just people that have had embark on the industry.
Right. Okay. So, you know, we've been talking about music. So let's talk about just who are you? Just talk about yourself for a while. Just tell me, who are you?
It's hard to talk about myself.
Describe yourself. I know it is.
Who am I?
Yeah. You said your song is what?
It's called I Am Amore. But so who I am is basically, you know, like a woman that has been trying to find her way, and slowly but surely I am finding my way and my place in the world. You know, so many times, you know, we're living and don't even know our purpose.
Right.
And I truly think that I'm stepping in my purpose within my music. I'm a mother. I'm a woman that loves God. I love people, you know, and I'm thankful that I have finally learned how to love myself.
Good.
You know, so I'm a woman that's learning myself on a daily basis. I'm not perfect. I don't dot every I, don't cross every T. You know, sometimes I trip and fall, you know what I mean? But it's a matter of getting back up every time.
Right.
So I think I'm a determined individual who just want better, not only for myself, but for my daughter too. Yeah.
So on your, you say your new
EP.
What's your favorite song?
I don't know. It's like, no, my favorite song right now is Just Want Your Time.
Okay.
And Just Want Your Time basically describes, you know, you just wanting that person's time and attention. And I when I wrote that song, I was thinking like, well, what can I do differently? You know, because a lot of times you hear about people wanting money, wanting this, wanting that. And I'm like, time is something that you cannot get back.
Right.
It cannot be replaced, whereas money, materialistic things can be replaced. Let me talk about time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, time is important because like nowadays, you don't know.
Yeah.
We just lost a friend she was battling cancer.
Wow.
She was going through a lot of other stuff, and she went to sleep one night and had a stroke.
Wow, I'm sorry to hear that.
Young lady, you know. So I take time and everything really serious these days. I mean, I always did, but you know, the older you get, you really think about it.
Yeah.
You really think about your life. You really think about the people around you.
Yeah.
You know, so let's elaborate on that a little bit. Let's talk about the people around you, as far as like management and things like that. Like, how do you deal with that? Like, do you have a good relationship with your team and stuff like that?
So my team is Sound Empire Entertainment. They're a local record company here in Baltimore. And the relationship that we have, I swear, is more like a family than anything. They've been with me through hell and high water, and yet they still stick with me. They push me to be a better person, be a better artist. And you can't buy that.
Right.
You know, so many times, you know, we sign deals or we get with people and everybody's worried about themselves.
Right.
You know what I mean? Of course, people they say they want you to win.
Right.
And when you win, they be like, you know, we won. We won. Like everybody's learning French or something like that, you know?
Like we.
Yeah, you know?
Right.
But I respect them so much. Stacey and Ty, I respect them so much on so many different levels.
Give a shout out to Miss Stacey. She's awesome.
They be on it, you know?
Yeah,
but they definitely push me. And like, you know, ideas I bring to the table, you know, they don't just push it aside.
Right.
You know, they take things into consideration. We talk things out, come up with a plan, and we execute.
I think that's important to have like a relationship like that. Like you said, a lot of times people get in it and they get in it for the money, the wrong reasons. They say they care about their artists, but they really don't. You know, they don't listen to their artists. And I know that as managers, you have to have a certain job,
right?
You know, and you have to have a certain respect for your artist. But I think that for me, I think if you work as a team, it's much better.
Yeah.
If you work, like you said, as a family.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people get in it and they're always like, oh, she can sing, she can do that, we can get all this money and blah, blah, blah. But they don't take care of their artists.
Right.
You know, they don't listen to what they have to say.
Right.
Because y'all have opinions.
Yeah.
Y'all know what's good for you, you know. And me working with someone, I'm learning that.
Right.
You know, I don't want to push all my ideas because sometimes I feel like I know best. But, you know, I feel like you shouldn't push all your ideas. You should let them speak out because they know what's good for them. You know, I think it's a two-way street.
Absolutely.
A two-way
Like communication.
Street. Yeah, two-way street.
Definitely.
So, where will be your place of you want to perform? Like a place that you just want to be able to perform for people to hear your music. Like one day, this is the place that I want everybody to hear my music.
So to be honest, I've always dreamed like, because I'm from Baltimore, I've always dreamed, of course, you know, performing down at the arena because I'm from Baltimore, so why not? You know? But then, you know, on a different standpoint, I've thought about like places like Madison Square Gardens.
There you go.
You know, I've thought about the Fillmore. I've just, at this point, look, let's just get a place and we gonna show out.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
So but a place that I've always dreamed of is like Madison Square Gardens.
Who would you like to headline?
Ooh, who would I like to headline? To be honest, Melanie Fiona. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Melanie Fiona.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've seen her in person, so I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah, so.
Yeah, it's a beautiful person.
Tryna creep back in, tryna be your buddy, cause you see me with my new man. Boy, you did what you did, and you said what you said, now it is what it is. Never mind what it was, cause it is what it is. You just don't understand all the things that I did, sacrifices I made, all the games that you played, now it's...
So, I know a lot since February, March of this year, or last year, we've been dealing with COVID and everything. So how has that affected you and things you've been doing and what you've been going through?
People might be calling me crazy, but I think COVID was a blessing for me.
Okay.
Because earlier last year, I was at a job that I didn't like, and I was just like, how am I gonna find my way out? Because, I mean, I still got to provide for my daughter, so I'm like, how am I gonna find my way out? And then, boom, COVID hit. So it was just like, okay. So then I started like, you know, writing more. I started like really trying to perfect my craft. So, you know, during this time, it's really, I say it's been a blessing in disguise in a weird way. You know, despite what's going on around us, you know, I think it's really helped me to find myself.
You know, I noticed that a lot of people have become entrepreneurs since this happened. I had a friend that she started a soap thing because she said she just felt like there wasn't no fun stuff to do with soap going through this pandemic, and she just started making all these weird soaps. And now she has a shop called Bubble Galore. And she started last year at the beginning of all this, and now she has a little shop out in Anne Arundel.
Okay.
And I think she just opened it like 2 weeks ago.
Awesome.
You know, and she felt like she was at a job that she didn't like, you know, and she left it and she was like, I have to do something. And she came up with that and she's doing well. So I think that this pandemic kind of helped a lot of people. I mean, I know a lot of people are going through it. You know, we had a lot of deaths. We lost a lot of people. My daughter had it. I know a couple of people that had it and passed away from it. So we don't want to look past that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I know a lot of people, they became entrepreneurs and they started thriving through this, you know. So I think that's the good thing about it. You know, we all want this to go away.
Yeah.
You know, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about the vaccine. How you feel about that?
I don't feel about with a vaccine. I feel like your body is self-healing. And I've never seen a vaccination come so quickly.
Right.
So I mean, I don't knock who is for it, you know, but personally, I'm not.
Right. So if your job come and be like, you gotta get this vaccine.
Bruh. I might have to bite the bullet and not do it.
Yeah.
You know, because that's what I believe.
You gotta stand on what you believe in.
Yeah, Nah.
Okay. Let's talk about, we had a big win.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. How you feel about that?
Ooh, let me tell you, I was so anxious, you know, WEAA 88.9, you know, they had Rock It or Drop It session. And basically, it was myself and 3 other artists who songs were played during the session and during the segment. And it was just like, all right, I'm just like, all right, what's going to happen? What's going to happen?
Right.
You know, people were calling like, well, how I do it? You know, and the win was, I think before they even announced the winner, I had so much like anxiety to the point where I got a headache. I was like, oh man, all right, just hope I win type of thing.
Right.
You know, so when I won, I was like super ecstatic. I actually set up my camera,
Okay.
and recorded me and my daughter. So me and my daughter in the house and enjoying the music and stuff like that. So it was extremely exciting. And especially because I'm not a person that celebrates things that I do normally. So to just celebrate that and have that moment with my daughter was like amazing.
Okay. So where is that going to lead to? Like,
So right now, from my understanding, my song will be played in their rotation.
okay.
And, you know, hopefully, you know, it'll lead to being on other radio stations as well.
Is that the one you have a video for?
Yes.
Okay.
Over You, yes.
All right.
Which is on YouTube and all streaming platforms.
Okay. Let's go back to talking about people that you want to work with. Let's elaborate on that. Let's talk about that a little bit more.
Okay. So, like, the people that I said I wanted to work with, I've seen, like, their growth. I've seen how they are different in the industry and just, they believe in their talent and it exuberates, you know. For example, Jasmine Sullivan, you know, I just think she's amazing. You know, her voice is just phenomenal. And I just feel like when you are surrounding yourself or when you look at other people in their situations, you know, and how they're going about changes with themselves and they're happy with those changes, it kind of makes you think, like, what can I do to better myself within my talent and as a person?
So you write music as well?
Yeah, so I write music too. I was trying to shy away from writing music because at one point I just didn't think that it was good enough, you know. And I was like, well, people ain't gonna want to hear this, you know, because I'm really a fan of like 90s R&B and things like that.
Okay.
Like music, you
Right,
know, I'm a fan
right.
of music that has meaning to it, you know. So I was just like, people ain't gonna want to hear this. But then, you know, you hear people like Tiana Taylor and, you know, doing the remixes to certain music and stuff. I'm like, wait a minute, you know what I'm saying? You know, so, and that's another person I would want to work with too, Tiana Taylor.
yeah.
Yeah, she's dope.
Yeah.
She's dope and very underrated. But yeah, I just, it's a whole lot within this industry where it's like, you know, you got to pace yourself.
Right.
But with the writing part, now I think too with COVID really helped me tap into really writing my story.
Got you. So who would you want to write for if you had the chance?
If I had a chance, I would want to write for probably Tiana Taylor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like what kind of song would you write for her?
What song doesn't she have? Whatever kind of song she doesn't have is the song that I would try to write for her.
Right.
But I guess like, I don't know, like something like a bounce back type of thing, because no matter how many punches is thrown to her, you know, no matter how many people say she can't do it, she always bounce back.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, okay. You were saying you were talking about Tiana Taylor and the remake of songs that she play.
Mm-hmm.
So what song would you pick to do a remix or to do a remake of? Like a
Probably
Stevie
like
Wonder?
Mary J. Real Love, or Since My Name Is Amore, like the John B. Amore version to Amore.
Okay.
What else? Oh, that's a great question too.
Because the reason why I asked that question, because like I said, I love music, and I love how they take other portions of songs and, you know, put it in songs. Me and my daughter was listening to something yesterday, and she was like, "Ma, I know that beat," and we couldn't get it. She was like, "I know that beat. It's a song. It's a remix for something else." And I just like how they do that.
Yeah.
You know, I really do. I wish I could write songs and stuff like that, because I think I'll be amazing. But
If I had a chance, though, a person that I wish that I at least could have met, Nina Simone.
oh yeah,
Nina Simone is just like, she's a powerhouse by
yes, she
herself.
is. Yes, she is.
And like, when I read books about her and was like really getting to know who she was through words, I was like, whoa, it blew my mind.
Yeah.
And her songs, I was like, what does she know about this stuff? You know what I mean? And like even Baltimore, the song she has for called Baltimore. You know, if you just listen to the things that she say, it's like, damn, what has she been through? What's she been through?
Right.
You know, because she conveys it through her music.
Yeah. Because I think a lot of times when people make music, even in rap, a lot of times it's based on, I ain't talking about the rap today, because I don't know what the heck they be talking about, but I'm talking about, you know, back in the day, it was based on what you went through, you know, what you feel, how you feel about a situation. I know a lot of times a lot of people write songs and poetry from relationships and that deep feelings or a great loss of something. Like, I don't know if you know the song, it's called I Really Miss You. It's about a Brandy.
Okay.
It's about a dog, and I didn't know that. You ever heard that song? I Really Miss You.
I do remember hearing that song. And R. Kelly, I believe, remade that song, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think he did.
When I heard it, I'm like, okay, he really missed this woman. And then my father's like, oh no, he's talking about an animal.
I never knew he was talking about an animal.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, if you heard it, you really think he's talking about a woman. But that's how he felt about his dog called Brandy, you know. So that's what I say. People write stuff out of emotions and character, and it was amazing though, because I was like, really. So I had to keep listening to him. Like, I would never thought he was talking about an animal.
And that's funny you said that, because Missy Elliott just made like a post in regards to one of the Tweet songs.
Okay.
And I think it was Oops.
Okay.
And people were thinking about it was like a sexual meaning, but really it's not a sexual meaning. It's her embracing, you know, her melanin.
Right.
So I was
I heard an interview. She was talking about that. You know, and a lot of times when people have songs, they think that it's about a sexual thing or something else. And then when you hear the artist talk about it, it's like, oh, that's what you're talking about, because I thought you were talking about something else.
But perception is powerful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So let's talk about BJR a little bit.
So BJR, he is a local artist. He's also a producer. He's a writer. You know, he has also been through my journey as well.
Okay.
He actually wrote Over You, and you know, he's been writing for a long time.
Okay.
But he's a powerhouse as well. Has some great work, and he's very encouraging as well. So he's a great person to work with.
Okay. Let's talk about Baltimore a little bit. You're from Baltimore. You're born and raised, right?
Yeah.
How do you feel about the talent in Baltimore? How do you feel about, because I feel like Baltimore don't get this recognition. Like, we have so much talented people here, and this is one of the reasons why I do what I do. You know, this was really started what I do off because I saw the talent. Like, when I saw you and saw a lot of other people, and it was like, you know, I have to give a platform so other people can hear them.
Right.
You know, so how do you feel about that?
As you said, Baltimore has many talented artists, whether it's poets, whether it's, you know, singers, writers, rappers. Man, is flooded with talent. But the thing about it is, I think what is Baltimore's downfall is that our own people don't support us. You know, so a lot of times as artists, we go on other states, other places, and they're bumping our music, playing our songs, things like that. And it's like, well, why can't I get this, you know, same love at home? And it kind of boils down to that, I guess, the crab mentality. You know, people want you to win, but they don't want you to win more than they're winning.
Right.
And I think that kind of deters us. People are used to the same things, same people, same names, same faces. So when something different or someone different comes into play, they're like, oh no, I ain't, you know, I'm not doing this. I ain't, you know. So I think because we aren't to that nature of accepting different, we don't want different.
And I agree. You know, my artist, he decided that he wants to move from Baltimore. Talented person, but it seemed like we just not giving them the love.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a shame, like we said, we have to go somewhere else to find that love. Like, even what I do, you know, I put on fashion shows and stuff like that, and you just don't get the love, you don't get the support, or you have to have a certain name or be in a certain crowd, you know, to get that. And one thing about me, I don't feel like I need to be in the crowd. I just want to hold my own and, you know, do what I have to do, because I love what I do, you know. So even speaking on that, like, how do you feel about the crowd that you're in or won't get accepted in, you know, how do you feel about that? Because like you said, Baltimore, we have some talented people, but we always got to go somewhere else.
Right.
So if you had to go somewhere else, where would you go?
If I had to go to anywhere else, it would be Cali.
Yeah.
And more or less because the vibes are different. You know, the people are different. People want to see you work. They, you know, and they push you to a different extremity.
Right.
Another place will probably be Atlanta.
Right.
So those two segues will probably be like the main places that I will go.
Okay. But how do you feel about like not being in that crowd of people? You know, what is your view on that?
Right now, I really don't have a view. Right, as I said before, I'm just like making my own lane. So I do believe that people will gravitate to the music, and I just have to have that mentality. I think anything that you write or you say can be manifested.
Right. Do you want to do anything else outside of music?
So lately, I have been doing photography.
Okay.
You know, just trying to just do a little something different. I just feel like a lot of times words can be expressed through a picture too.
Right.
So photography has been one thing, but I've been thinking also about probably going back to school.
Okay.
Don't know too sure about that, but for real, I just right now my main focus, to be honest, is to take things one step at a time. Of course, I do have aspirations to do other things, but right here, right now, I'm just focusing on my music.
That's good. That's good. So what would you say you don't know what you would take when you go to school, if you decide to go that route?
Well, if I was to go back to school, it would probably be like a business class or something like that. Because as artists, I think, you know, we sell ourselves short by not knowing the business. And, you know, people could try to sell us anything.
Yeah.
You know, so we definitely have to, knowledge, people can't take that away from you.
Exactly.
So, I mean, a business class would definitely be my way of,
right.
you know, to go.
Yeah, I took a class for 2 years. I just finished up last year.
Okay.
Because I got into the business, and I feel like that.
Yeah.
You know, you need to know the business, and that's a smart thing. And a lot of people don't do that because they always, once they get managers and agents and all that, they allow them to overflood them with everything. And it's like, you don't even think for yourself anymore. And one thing I tell my artists, I said, you should never let anybody have total control of your brand in your business, you know. And I feel that way, and that's why I think we work together so well, because I don't want to have total control over him. You know,
and you don't find people like you often.
Oh yeah, I want him to have his opinion. I want him to say, "Nah, we're not doing that." You know, and I think that and it took a little had to get used to that, because I'm a planner. You know, I'm a thinker, I'm all that. So I'm always looking like, okay, this is what you need to wear, this is what you need to do, this is, you know. And then he'll be like, nah, we're not doing that. You know, so I had to humble myself and start listening to him. But I also said to him, like, you never want to have nobody having total control, because I feel that way. Even with the people that work with me, I'm like, yeah, we not. I just can't handle you everything, because it's not going to work like that, because then your vision get lost. You get lost in the process.
Right.
So let's talk about, just let me tell us where Amore want to go from here, from this day on.
Okay, so from this day on, to be honest, I just want my name to buzz, you know, but I wanted to buzz for the right things. And of course, my music, like, I want my music to be booming everywhere, which I think is going to happen, you know what I mean? I believe that it will happen.
Oh, yeah.
So I just, from this point on, it's like, you know how they be like, it's just up from here.
Right.
You know, but I do want to maintain my humbleness.
Right.
But I definitely want to be able to be like, yo, like tell my daughter, like, yo, I did it. We did it, Juicy. You know, that's what I call it.
You call it Juicy. Know what you say?
Yeah, so, you know, because I just, like I said, I can't sell her dreams and I haven't done it myself.
Right.
So I want it to be like, at first we were just dreaming, and now it's tangible.
Right.
You know, look at what God can do.
Right. So what is the hardest thing to get you up every day? Like, what is the hardest thing that you got to overcome to say, you know what, I have a dream, I have a passion, and I'm going somewhere with this? You know, what's that struggle like?
My hardest thing is being in my own way. A lot of times I'll be like, yo, I can't do this. You
Right.
know? But now is truly a mentality thing.
Yeah.
You know, when they say Mamba mentality, that's what
Yeah.
you have to have.
Yeah.
Because it's some days where I've been like, yo, I don't want to get out of bed today. I don't want to shower today. I just don't. I give up.
Right.
But then my daughter runs around, mommy, da da da, and then I'm like, okay, this is my why. This is
Right.
my why. Why I have to get up? Why I have to
Right.
keep pushing? Why I have to, So I think for anybody, when you really are questioning your ability and you feel like you want to give up, you have to find your why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what would you tell people in this industry, and not even in the industry, just people that has a passion for whatever they're doing, whether it's acting, whether it's singing, whether it's tap dancing, whatever it is, what would you say to them to motivate them to keep going?
So like somebody told me, I gotta say, find your niche.
Okay.
Find your niche, and
Right.
you have to practice at what you're good at, so you can be better and better.
Right.
You don't just wake up like, you know what, I'm gonna go here today and I'm gonna do my best, but you haven't practiced.
Right.
So I truly believe that practice makes perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you truly got to find your niche. You got to find your purpose within this life, because you'll just be walking around here like a zombie and don't know what's going on.
Yeah, that's true. Like I say, my artist every other day he wants to quit. He want to quit his job, and he has them little moments where he's like, man, I don't know if that's going to be for me, because I've been doing this so long, But I really respect him, because one thing about him, he's not afraid to take them chances.
Right.
When I asked you about, if you wanted to go somewhere else, where would you go? And that's his mentality right now. Like, he doesn't, he feel like Baltimore is just not going to get him where he gives props to people that gave him his chance here.
Right.
But he's like, he got to take it somewhere else.
Yeah.
And do you feel like you're going to ever get to that place?
To be honest, I don't know yet.
Okay.
The reason why I actually stay is because of my church home.
Okay.
If it wasn't for my church, I wouldn't be here.
Okay.
And that's real,
Okay.
But I really think that wherever God intends for me to go, I'm going to go.
Okay.
I'm not, just because I was born and raised here don't mean that I necessarily got to stick and stay,
Yeah.
So I just think, it's all about what's right for you,
Right.
And not just at the time, but for the long run.
Right. And a lot of people get caught up in, I got to stay here. I don't want to go nowhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And people have to come out that fear. They have to know that sometimes you guys just leap out there.
And I have friends who left Baltimore, went to California, they went to Texas, and living their best life.
Good.
And have made businesses,
Good.
Things like that. And, they even encourage me, like, look, you can do whatever you want to do, whether it's in Baltimore or anywhere else.
Right.
It's just how you carry it.
Right.
Because it's not where you go or where you are, it's what
Right.
you do when you get there.
Right.
So, it is what it is. But I'm excited wherever I am, yeah.
All right, so I know you got 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So what you like to do for your downtime?
So my downtime, my daughter loves to paint, so we've been painting. I like to write, play the game.
Right.
And sometimes I just like to chill, just have a laid-back day. Me and my daughter might have a movie night type of thing where I set it up and pop popcorn and all that good stuff. So that is really my downtime. The 9 to 5, and sometimes I don't have downtime. Because straight after I get off of work, boom, I'm going to what I love to do, and I'm doing that. You know what I mean? I'm trying to perfect that. So it's like, all right, some days I go to sleep at 3 a.m., some days I go to sleep 4. Sometimes I'm like, you know what, I'm going to just stay up,
Right.
and just keep pushing. But then I know, too, I got to let my body get rest.
So if you had an organization that you wanted to open to help young ladies, what would you do? What would be your niche?
So to be honest, because I feel like it's something I can sort relate, it would be basically like an organization that mentors women who may not have their parents, or something to that extent. But something I just want to give back to people. I'm not really, one to be like, oh, but you got to give me this, or we got to, I really do feel like, we all have a purpose to give back in some formality. So something to that extent, like empowering women, young women, because I was even in a mentor program as a kid. It's called like Best Friends.
Right.
and you know, we had mentors. They took us places and things like that. So something to that extent.
Okay. If you ever had write a book about yourself, what would you call it?
I'm actually writing a book.
Oh, see?
I'm writing a book, and it's called Walking in Your Difference.
Okay. You want to talk about that a little bit?
No.
Why? You don't want to give it up too much?
No, to be honest, like, so this book has been like a struggle, to be honest, because it's just like, you really got to face yourself, you know, and I'm facing my 12-year-old self right now.
Got you.
Because I feel like in order to break generational curses, you have to first break the curse within yourself.
Right. Absolutely.
So this is basically a guide to help people that might have gone through trauma as a kid,
right,
and still living within that kid is still living within them,
right.
So I don't want to deter my daughter from being able to talk to me. You know what I mean? So this book is like, okay, you're different, cool, but don't be afraid to be different.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when can we see this book? Like, when is this going to be put out?
Right now, I'm shooting for the end of this year.
Okay.
So that's what I'm shooting for.
All right. Are we going to see any more videos or anything?
So videos are coming for other songs in the EP.
Okay.
But right now, I'm just building a lot of content.
Right.
You know, doing Q&As, you know, trying so people can get to know who I am behind the lights, camera, and action.
Okay. So let us know where we can find you, what platform, social media, give us all that good detail.
Sure. So my Instagram is which is the letter I,
Okay.
period, AM, period, AM0R. So I am Amore. That's my IG. Overview can be found on all streaming platforms. Whatever you listen to music on, that's where you can find me at. I'm also on YouTube, Overview, which was directed by Chris Bivens.
Okay. Well, thank you, Amore, for
Thank you.
coming. Thank you for being my third guest. Thank you so much. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in again with this episode of Savvy Events Corner. Thank you, guys.